In some unique situations, atmospheric conditions can even play an aesthetic role. Such is the case for the work of American artist James Turrell, whose installation pieces are primarily concerned with light, space, and perception of color. I've had the pleasure of visiting several of his installations, and they're absolutely incredible, transcendent experiences, whether in a gallery setting or in one of his outdoor installations, which are known as sky spaces. If you ever get a chance to see his work in person, I highly recommend it. I saw one of his sky spaces most recently when I was in California at the Geo Design Summit at the end of February, which now seems like a different lifetime. But anyway, I took a side trip to Pomona College to see his piece called Dividing the Light, which was an awesome meditative experience. Obviously, in all of his sky spaces, the framing of the sky as a void is everything. And by the way, if you're thinking Turrell's work looks familiar, it may be because of this. It turns out that the hip-hop and R&B recording artist Drake is a huge fan of Turrell's work and used it as the inspiration for his Hotline Bling video.
You used to call me on my cell phone, late night when you need my love. Call me on my cell phone, late night when you need my love.
Yeah, I know when that hotline bling. In any event, James Turrell installed a sky space piece for the beautiful Nasher Sculpture Garden in Dallas, Texas, designed by Peter Walker Partners. The piece, entitled Tending Blue, can be seen here in the foreground of the photo. Unfortunately, several years after this piece was built, this skyscraper was built directly across the street, obliterating the pure view of the sky. The story goes that Raymond Nasher, who donated the sculpture center, had a quote-unquote handshake agreement with the Dallas Police and Fire Pension System, whose real estate investment branch wanted to build a luxury condominium building known as Museum Tower in the heart of Dallas's Arts District. The agreement they had allegedly worked out was that the Museum Tower structure wouldn't go above 20 stories, so as to not interfere with the Turrell piece nor the sculpture center's overall aesthetic vibe. However, it seems that after Nasher died in 2007, the agreement was ignored during a redesign of the tower, and the eventual building that resulted now stands some 40 stories tall. This is the sign that now stands at the locked entrance to the Turrell piece. It reads, "Because a clear view of the sky from the interior of Tending Blue is now obstructed by Museum Tower, the artist, James Turrell, has declared the work destroyed." It goes on to state that Turrell has created a new design for a sky space on this site, which will eliminate Museum Tower from the viewer's line of sight. The Nasher Sculpture Center hopes to execute this new design in the future. In fact, the tower had other unintended negative consequences. The intensely reflective facade bounces magnified sunlight into the sculpture garden, scorching the trees, and also reflects too much sunlight into the north-facing windows of the museum, making the space too bright for the safe display of some works. So I'm pretty sure the Nasher Sculpture Garden staff are not big fans of Museum Tower. It just goes to show that atmospherics can be very difficult to predict and plan for, particularly in a dense urban setting. So if you want to analyze existing atmospheric conditions, where can you get relevant information about a particular site? Well, there are a few options available. The first and most tedious, but also the most intuitive, is through direct observation. Simply photograph your site at mid-morning, noon, and mid-afternoon at different times of the year. Take note of where the shadows are and which part of your site is in shade and which part is in sun. You can also make note of which direction wind is coming from and how hard the wind is blowing. Of course, you don't always have a whole year or many months to take advantage of making observations about the site conditions. There are also some fantastic apps that help you locate the path of the sun all year round. Two of the best are Sun Surveyor and Sun Seeker. These apps use your phone's GPS and compass to display an accurate representation of the sun's path through the sky in your location. Both apps have 3D augmented reality camera overlays, as well as integrations with Google Maps. Unfortunately, both apps need to be purchased to get the full functionality out of them. If you're particularly keen on getting accurate shadows, you can create a 3D model of your existing site conditions in SketchUp or other 3D modeling software. SketchUp comes with built-in solar simulations and can show you exactly how the sun enters a building or garden, using accurate angles for the project location. It's a highly intuitive program, and if you're good with Adobe Illustrator or Photoshop, it won't take you too long to learn to model in SketchUp. If you're interested, there are lots of great SketchUp tutorials on YouTube. My 3D program of choice is 3ds Max, which I've used frequently in my professional practice to create animated shadow studies like these in order to understand lighting conditions of a design proposal and communicate that information to the client. These particular studies are from a residential courtyard project in Vero Beach, Florida.